right, you guys. So we are going to be starting Unit 8 today. I'm pretty excited. It's a unit on probability. So I hope you guys was able to do the first page with ease. So the learning target is determining a sample space and determining the probability of mutually exclusive events. So in order for us to do that, we definitely need to know what those vocabulary words are. So that's the main point of the lesson. So a sample space is the set of all possible outcomes. So we have to think, what's every possibility that could occur? So for example, if I'm tossing a coin, the sample space is either a heads or a tail because you can only either get a heads or a tail. There are two sides to a coin. So if I ask you now, complete the sample space of flipping two coins, right? So now you have two coins. You have coin 1 and coin 2. So you could either have two heads, a head and a tail. And you could also have the reverse, which is a tail and a head. Or the last option is to have two tails, okay? So these are two different ones just because it's two different coins. So one coin will be a heads while the other is a tails and vice versa. All right, so those are two different occurrences. So there are 4 things in a sample space there. All right, so now if we're talking about mutually exclusive events, that is essentially two things that cannot occur simultaneously. So for example, if you flip a coin only once, right? If you're only flipping that coin once, there's no way that you could have a heads and a tails at the same time. It has to be only one or the other. All right, so I want you guys to think about an example of two events that are mutually exclusive, right? So I'm going to give you an example, and you guys have to put your own examples. Do not put the example that I'm putting here. For example, the event that I am 7 feet tall, right? 7 feet tall cannot happen at the same time that I'm 5 feet tall. I cannot be both of these heights at the same time. All right, two things that cannot be both true at the same time. All right, so since mutually exclusive events cannot happen, all right, at the same time, what is the probability that both events will happen simultaneously? So if it's impossible, so basically that means it's impossible. And if it's impossible, then the probability is a 0% chance that two mutually exclusive events will happen at the same time. All right, and so just down below we have a little bit of notation. So this is similar to function notation. It's unfortunate that they all look so similar, but this is not the same. This is basically asking what is the probability that event A will occur, all right? So when you see this notation for the rest of this unit, it's basically saying what is the probability that event A will occur. So for this one over here, it's similar and it has this little thing. This thing here represents the and, right? So you see this, I like to think about it as like an A, right? How is the A shaped? So you know if it's an upside down U, it's and. All right, so this is the probability that A and B will both occur. So this is it both happening. All right, and so this is different than the probability that A or B will happen. All right, and so we're going to get into that when we're looking at different cases throughout the rest of this lesson. All right, and so this is the opposite. You'll see that little U shape here. All right. Let's actually jump into some applications, right? So let's actually look at another scenario. Let's assume Yahir had a numbered cube with each face labeled with the numbers 1 through 6. So we're going to let event A be the event that he rolls the number 1, and event B be the event that he rolls a number that is not 1. So we want to keep in mind that this is a dice with 6 faces, and each of them is labeled 1 through 6. So if we're looking at the sample set, what are all the possibilities, right? Remember, sample set is all possible outcomes. So don't forget that. All possible outcomes. And if it's all possible outcomes, then the sample set is 1, 2, 3. All right, and you guys could fill in the rest. All right, you should know what the rest are. You guys could tell me that. All right. So what is the probability of event A here? So the probability of him rolling the number 1 has a 1 out of 6 chance. This is a 6. Sorry. And the probability that he rolls a number that is not 1. Well, how many numbers are not 1? Well, there are 5 numbers that are not 1. So the probability of that happening is actually 5 over 6. And notice that this includes everything in the sample set. All right? So let's move on to event C. What if we think about the event that he rolls the number 5? Okay? Can he, right? If we're asking, what is the probability that he rolls the number 1 and he rolls the number 5? Well, is it possible for a dice to land on 2 faces at once? Is it possible? No, it's not possible for that to happen. So the probability of this is actually 0%. All right, so I want you guys to explain how we determine that. I sort of just gave that explanation, but I want you to write it out. All right, and so now if we're looking at what is the probability that he rolls either a 1 or, here now this is or a, a 5, right? So he could either roll a 1 or he could roll the 5, and that also has a 1 out of 6 chance. So that is equal to 2 out of 6. And I want you guys to explain how we determine this answer. Make sure you write out your explanations, guys. Take a look at the second additional help video if you guys need any help as you're working through the fluency practice and your exit ticket. Also, feel free to come to my office hours, and I will talk to you guys soon.